Today we're putting on our rubber nipples because it's about to get cold as we look at Batman and Robin. Well, hello everyone out there in podcast land. Welcome to Hold Up, the show where we dive deep inside your childhood nostalgia, pull the movies from your past out to see if they truly hold up. I'm Hold Up today with Kyle and Andrew. Kyle, how's your energy level?
Thank you for addressing me first yet again. Nothing makes me happier than being first over Andrew. My energy today is like when you have a senile dog and you can go inside and you can smell that something's off in your apartment, but you can't really tell. And then you feel like a wet patch on the carpet. And then you smell the smell and you look at the dog and you're like, you made this. And then you have to clean it up. That's the energy that I got today.
Talking about dog piss?
No, like a specific situation with dog piss.
Oh, yeah.
Like bloody dog piss is what it sounds like.
You're just gray. Like, how did it get like that?
For anyone out there with a scale, and we're keeping up with Kyle's dog piss energy level, that's really good, actually. He's feeling pretty good.
It's up there.
I'm going to transition to another liquid.
What?
Sweat. It's really sweaty. It's been sweaty. Kind of swampy day. It was like 86. So this room is a little stuffy, a little humid. I'm fine, but I'm a little bit more, I don't want to say, can I say moist? Can I say moist?
Mm-hmm.
Is there another word that I can use here that's...
Moist has not been canceled yet, so you can say moist.
But is there a better descriptor I could use to describe my state?
No. That's how you are as a person, is moist.
Yeah.
Just kind of,
I don't know about that, but...
Speaking of moist, we watched Batman and Robin. That's the next one up, and there's some long faces in this room, and it took me 2 days to finish this movie.
It was a chore.
Not trying to get ahead of the train here.
We might as well.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of things in my life that I can look down at and say that I'm very disappointed in. The fact that I had to watch this movie.
Can honestly say this is one of the worst movies I've ever witnessed to. I've ever bared witness to, I should say. It was just bad every which way. There was nothing redeeming about it. One of the worst written and directed movies I've ever seen.
Is that it? Do we just wrap now?
We can tear it apart. Let's tear it apart. Let's fucking destroy this piece of shit.
Let's get into it. So this movie has a lot of nostalgia for me as a child.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the reasons I was excited to watch it, because I vividly remember going to see this with my family. I had all the action figures. I had all of them. I had a Mr. Freeze. I had a Poison Ivy. I had Robin. I had Batman.
It was
all that shit.
A big toy movie. This was one of the biggest toy movies there was. My next door neighbor had the Batmobile, the one that got all slippy, slappy, and shot shit out of it. I was like,
how many things did you break with that?
With what?
The Batmobile.
Oh, I did. My next door neighbor had it, so I was unprivy to that. But I did have the Batman. I had Batman and Robin. I had his motorcycle, his little dinky ass fucking Yamaha.
I had that too.
I had the motorcycle. I had the Batmobile, but it wasn't the cool. I think it was the early release Batmobile. So it was like the.
I didn't have this Batmobile. I had the one from Batman Returns or something like that, I believe. But you still used all of the characters for that. It wasn't I separated. It was no, this is the wrong movie.
That Batmobile though for this movie was really cool.
Very, very dynamic.
It was cool. Yeah,
it had the grids on it. I think it looked like it had a bunch of exhaust systems. Didn't really seem to work as an actual car.
No,
really? That's surprising. You think they would have maybe made something a little bit more motorized for children to use?
Hey, question for you all: when did they put on their eyeliner or their eye makeup? Did you ever see them do that in the movie?
I think when they were making out with each other, they pushed their eyes.
Was that a deleted scene? I must have missed that one.
Yeah, that's the uncensored
Every
version.
single time they put on their little mask, you saw a dark circle around their eyes. I was like, that wasn't there before. When did they do that? Did they have a little grab and go mirror? When did they do that?
Yeah. One of the many holes that this movie presents.
One of the many.
You watched it as a kid. Did you go to theaters to see it?
Yeah.
You did?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was one. I do remember.
I was very young. I was maybe 5 or 6. I remember going with both my parents. I dragged them to it.
I remember Batman Forever really well, But I feel like this was the first movie that we were old enough to go see in theaters because Batman Forever came out in 95. Yeah.
I was 3 or 4 at that time.
I was watching it with Blair, and she made a comment. And I hate her for this, but she said, "Yeah, that's our Batman as children was George Clooney." And it's kind of accurate because
Honestly.
it doesn't mean it's like a good thing. It's just we grew up recognizing George Clooney as Batman. For better or for worse, I remember there was a lot of fanfare and marketing around it.
I mean, I don't remember all the marketing. I remember McDonald's did some stuff, I'm pretty sure, with that.
The toys were everywhere.
Yeah, that was a big...
Do we just expect at this point in time, in the 90s and 2000s, that are they just making movies to market to children so they can sell toys and merchandise and memorabilia to them?
Well, you might be onto something.
That is exactly what happened in this movie.
Interesting.
So one of the main reasons it got made, Warner Brothers sped it into production right after Batman Forever. They made sure that they had everybody on standby for it, and they pushed it as quickly as possible so that they can start making toys. That was it. They called it toyetic.
What was it called?
Toyetic.
Toyetic?
Like stemming from the word poetic? That's fucking lame.
I think kinetic
Kinetic,
toy.
okay.
Basically, let's produce as many toys as possible and advertise the shit out of this to children. I had a Poison Ivy, I had a Batman, I had a Robin, I had a Batmobile. It worked
thing.
for me.
Mr. Freeze.
I had a Mr. Freeze.
And they had the various vehicles and play sets to go
Right.
along with this.
Their idea behind that, too, was to hire these big name actors and actresses. Like Alicia Silverstone was
Huge.
crazy on fire at that time. Uma Thurman, who could forget.
She had just done.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, the biggest action movie star probably of all time.
George Clooney
Yes.
was a blockbuster name.
Well,
you know.
of all time, technically it's Harrison Ford. If you're being technical, it's Harrison Ford. However, I would agree with that as well.
I do love Commando.
Command, boy, oh boy, that's when we got to get to later.
There's not enough weed in the world for that one. Schumacher, who is the director, he directed Batman and Forever, came on board with this one. We were trying to figure out what else he's done. I know what he's done to us with this movie.
I'll never
I can
forgive
give
him.
you a few more. I had the list up here a second
It was,
ago,
I think
but
you said what?
There were some good ones in there. House
Phone
of
booth?
Cards.
Yeah, phone
He
booth.
was.
Phone booth was good.
I don't know if he did all of House of Cards. He probably did
Still.
an episode here and there. But
Find the worst episode, and I'm sure that's the one.
he did Phone Booth and 8mm. You know, 8mm is Nick Cage, but like,
Don't start with that. Don't.
hey, James Gandolfini's in that as well, along with Joaquin Phoenix and Peter Stormare. Like, there's some decent names in that.
Our point is that this is probably the bottom of the barrel.
They got him on board, and Warner Brothers wanted him to return because they had a working relationship with him. They forced him to change the script to match the toys.
Well, that makes sense.
There you go.
And,
That makes
and by
sense.
forced him to change, it's more or less like they had complete say over everything.
So it was just a bunch of big corporations who had their hand in this, like, make it the way we want so we can make more money or else.
Exactly.
essentially.
This was
Okay.
just a money grab for everyone
What a fucking
involved.
shame.
I do think that this led to the stall of the Batman franchise, which led to the Christopher Nolan film. So a lot of good did come out.
Then thank
Thank
God.
God.
Thank you.
Thank
you,
you.
Joel. And thank you, Hasbro. And whomever else got
And
your
then-
fucking
and then
fingers
thank
in
you,
this
Chris
pie.
Nolan, and then thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Oh, thank you, Christian. Thank you, Chris. For real. Like, thank you.
All right, Andrew. Let's
All right,
let's see what
so-
kind of numbers we are talking
You all
about.
want to guess the budget for this baby?
Oh boy, I'm gonna go. What I'm gonna say about 250 million. No, we all know it's not.
It hasn't failed yet. And by
hasn't
that it
failed.
means it's failed every
So
time.
you said
every time.
250 million. What do you say, Chasey?
Oh man, this one, especially coming off the Batman Forever, that did really well. I'm gonna say 300 million.
125 mil.
Damn. I was went over.
Domestic opening, 43 million.
It's not bad.
Not bad. Not bad.
That's not bad at all.
Domestic gross 107 million, international 130 million, and worldwide 238 million.
That's what it made was 238.
Worldwide.
Ouch! Because you know they were going for more than
More,
that.
much more. I mean, they put 125 million into it. They didn't even
after
all of
marketing
that
and all,
back.
that probably is one that got close to just netting.
Yeah.
very little.
Yeah.
Couple million.
Oh man.
They lost money.
But-
it looks like so.
Yeah.
Oh, if we're talking just about the movie and not including the merchandise,
Sure that the toys and all that
marketing,
shit, help.
that probably put them way over that, which might have been what they were shooting for.
This movie they probably wrote off as a failure and got tax out of that, and then made their marketing back off the toys. So they netted probably a shit ton, and then rode off into the sunset, as those big studios.
But
like
looking
to
at
do.
the film from standalone purposes, absolutely not. It flopped in that regard.
Did you like it when you were a kid?
I was young. I was obsessed with Batman. Batman is still my favorite superhero to this day. They could have made Batman like an awful person in that movie.
George Clooney was trying.
Yeah, they could have made it that much fucking worse, and I still probably would have enjoyed it.
I remember watching this a lot. I remember it being one of those movies too. After it would released, it would come on TNT early Sunday mornings.
Yeah.
So I remember as our parents were grabbing us out of bed to go to church, we were sitting over in the corner watching Batman and Robin while everyone was getting ready, and it was always the same scene. It was always with him in the ice warehouse going dance, dance. Like he's that scene just was always fresh in my mind.
I'm Mr. Cold Miser.
Oh god.
Oh my god.
I watched this movie multiple times in my childhood living room. Like I don't know how many times, but probably 5 to 10 times.
I
outside
looked
of the
at
theater.
Blair multiple times and quoted it.
Yeah.
I remember several scenes, several quotes out of it. We ran this one on the ground. We also had it on VHS, which we learned is video home system, right?
Video home system, very good. You remembered. We remembered.
That's such a dumb way to say that. Ass backwards way. Reach around your elbow to get to your asshole way to say that.
Video home system.
I have a fun fact here. So does anyone want to guess what Arnold Schwarzenegger made on this
Oh
film?
boy. How much he made afterwards or how much he was paid to do
How
it?
much he was paid for this film?
I'm going to guess probably about 15 million.
15 million? And that's a high guess.
It's a high guess.
Yeah.
It's hard for me. I got to think back. This is the 90s.
Will Smith made what, 5 mil off Men in Black, which came the same year, 97.
Yes, I think so. I'll say 12 mil.
12 mil. It was $25 million.
No shit.
Wow. And
He
that's why he's the
got
best.
paid.
Yeah, he did.
And he was also in the middle of his fornication with his.
Oh, his housemate.
Yeah, that happened around this time
forgot
too.
about
Yeah,
that. I forgot about
He was doing double duty.
Yeah, he was.
Good for him.
So yeah, good for him.
He's getting it done.
So, and he was one of the biggest stars at the time. This movie had a budget of 125, and 25 of it went to.
Right to him. Everybody
Arnold.
else is probably getting paid like a couple million, maybe a couple 100,000.
I mean,
No.
you made a point of it earlier. He might have been the best part of this movie.
Absolutely.
I
He's
think
the only
he-
reason why I was able to keep on watching it, because it's Arnold and because he's just it's him, and the way he says things and the way that he his comedy in this movie is like, if we just did a movie about Mr. Freeze, I would have been all about it. That would have been fucking awesome.
Did you have any childhood memories of this?
I remember going to see it at the movie theater vaguely. I remember, oh wow, this is a cool movie. Wow, I didn't know motorcycles could fly. Wow,
I didn't know
this
you
is
can
fun.
surf the clouds.
Yeah, I didn't know you really do that. But that's okay. And that's pretty much all I remember. I remember the toys, getting the Batman and the Robin together with his little motorcycle. Dog chewed up half of it, so didn't have it anymore. Honestly, I'm going to be very honest. Once Chris Nolan came out with Batman Begins, all of my previous Batman, whatever I cared about, I didn't fucking
Thrown
care
out the
anymore.
window.
And those are the best superhero movies of all time, and they are also the best Batman movies of all time.
Yeah.
Hands down. There is no other. You cannot make an argument otherwise. And nostalgia, cool, great.
Hey,
but no.
There's some comic book nerds who don't love his
I don't
movies because they
care.
aren't true to the
I
comics.
don't
They don't
care.
capture the comic world.
I don't give a
No, I don't give a
shit.
shit either. They're fucking wrong.
Shut up.
It's as real as it fucking gets.
You can come on here and debate us. No, you can't.
No, you
because you have
can't.
to get out of your basement. I'm just kidding. That was a joke.
Batman is such a pop culture icon, especially when you're a kid. I remember growing up, I was not the biggest Batman fan.
Bitch.
I was Spider-Man.
Sorry, but Spider-Man was great.
Yeah, Spider-Man was my superhero of choice. Now, I did like Batman. I wasn't against it. Like any kid, I love superhero movies.
About Superman?
Superman, I love Superman.
Yeah, same.
We didn't get any Superman shit when we were a kid.
No.
We got Batman crammed down our throat, and then we finally got Man of Steel in, 2012?
And who gives a shit
about
Who
that?
fucking
But then
cares?
they
Fucking
crammed
sucked.
Batman right back down our throat. They're like, hey, you remember that Batman character you love?
But we liked it and we took it.
We all remember Val Kilmer in Batman Forever. He got into it with Joel Schumacher in filming Batman Forever, and that's why he's not in this film. I think I have in my notes too. They were looking at a couple other people to play Batman. I don't know if I wrote it down. Guess who they wanted to play Batman, who was really a hot star on the TV circuit at the time.
On the TV circuit?
Yeah.
Well, George Clooney was on the TV circuit before he
Right,
was in this,
but another hot star. Obviously, they got George Clooney, so thinking for someone else.
on the TV circuit.
Bob Saget. I don't fucking
It was
know.
Bob Saget. No, it was
Tim Allen.
Chuck Norris.
that wasn't Chuck Norris.
Tim Allen.
Tim Allen.
Tim Allen. Tim Allen, wasn't it?
It wasn't Tim Allen. Tim Allen was starting to make his way into movies.
Roseanne Barr.
Roseanne.
It was not Roseanne Barr. I thought they should have went with Roseanne. She would have looked good with rubber nipples.
Steamrolled it.
Fran Drescher.
No, it was David Duchovny.
Oh, from X-Files, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I like him.
Yeah, I do too. So I'm glad that he didn't do this.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure he looks back on this. It was like, thank fucking God I didn't agree to this.
He was in talks, but they went with George Clooney, obviously. And the rest is, so they say, history. Who else did they want? I know they were looking at Demi Moore and Sharon Stone to play Poison Ivy. Those were a couple of names they were kicking around. But this kind of goes back into the point of they were really looking to hit a home run with the casting. That's what they would hope to carry the movie.
Well, sucks to suck.
Sucks to fucking suck.
Sucks to suck. I think we're ready to go. I think we're ready to talk about it, right?
I already gave you my spiel. Maybe a little too soon. Writing was on the fucking wall there.
I will say this. Before we get started talking about the movie itself, Schumacher did apologize for this one.
Did he really?
No way.
Yes.
Did he really?
He apologized, which is crazy. Here's his statement. This was later on when he was doing an interview. He said, look, I apologize. I want to apologize to every fan that was disappointed because I think I owe them that. That's it.
Cool.
You owe us more than that. You owe us our money back.
We didn't spend it. Our parents. You owe our parents money back with interest.
You fucking scammed our
So
parents
we
into
can get
buying
that
all
money.
that shit for us.
Get that fucking money in.
All
What a
right.
sellout. You want to talk about a sellout? He's a fucking sellout for this.
He probably didn't have much of a choice when it comes down to a lot.
And
of
he's
this.
probably laughing at anyone who calls him a sellout because of how much he made. But
Yeah, but also again, let's remember how little control sometimes when it gets compartmentalized like this in film, how much or how little creative flow.
He was a name in the director's chair. He was nothing more than that.
Producers want to go this way.
he was what you call a puppet.
He was on his hands and knees right in front of Warner
Little puppet
Brothers,
bitch.
and they were doing whatever they wanted with him. Without further ado, let's jump right in, and this movie wastes no time jumping right in. I think we have to begin with the intro and talk a little bit about that because we get the first of the suiting up like montages.
There's just nothing to preface it. It's just immediately like, oh, they're suiting up, getting right into some action.
There's some tight button, tight leather pants.
It's just right into genitalia, right into butts.
The fact that they both have rubber nipples on their suit.
I
hated it.
hate.
Why would you add that to the suit?
But this is the difference between the Nolan and this is that this is just utter bullshit.
And there's some people out there probably saying, but it's based on a cartoon. It's based on the campiness and all this. No, this is next level. This is just stupidity.
It's dumb.
There are cartoons that are better than this.
All of the
Batman
cartoons
Beyond,
are better
like,
than
all
this.
that shit's so much better than
All of
this.
this is so much better.
So these suits have rubber nipples on them. You can't look away from that. So anytime Batman is on screen or Robin's on screen, you're looking at their nipples. And what's the first words of dialogue in this movie? It's Robin saying,
I want a car.
I want a car. Chicks dig the cars.
Fuck off.
And he's
Robin.
riding this awesome bike.
He has a sick
It's a
bike.
really cool
It's like a Hayabusa
motorcycle.
or something,
Yeah.
some shit. It's fucking super fast. Awesome donor cycle.
But the way it was also delivered was just
Chicks dig cars.
I'm sorry, Chris O'Donnell is. I want to talk about him for a second.
Yeah.
He's just awful. He's just really bad. Like,
Let me asterisk that for Andrew before he says something he'll regret. He is awful in this movie.
but what else has he done?
He's done a lot of stuff. Been better than this.
I know he stars in NCIS Los Angeles now. What else has he done? I'm curious because I honestly don't.
He's done a couple other movies. There was one about where he was a groom or runaway bride or something.
Runaway Bride?
I don't know what it was called. He was like a groomsman, like women were running after him.
He wasn't the only person that was bad in this. Every delivery he had, just every line, it was awful. The moment with Alfred, right before they drove off, he leans up against the wall and just starts like crying. That was in the first few minutes.
Yeah, which, I mean, it doesn't take a genius to know he's sick because he's 112.
He is.
He is old as shit in this movie.
But like,
Remind you that the dialogue that they are delivering are like people sitting on toilets and being completely constipated. That is what we're getting.
Literally like one word responses like yeah or I'm good or things like
Everyone's
so
an arrogant
generic.
prick in this movie. Everyone is an arrogant prick and unlikable. But we're introduced to Mr. Freeze pretty quickly as they're trying to steal.
Immediately. They don't even know who they're going to see. They just got a call about this guy. His name's Freeze.
Stealing diamonds.
Stealing diamonds from the museum, which was not a museum. It was just a fucking theme park looking shit because when the dinosaur fucking breaks apart, there's no fucking bones. It's not even a fucking fossil. It's what we think a dinosaur would look like. There's no museum.
I thought it was a jewelry store. I didn't even think it was a museum.
What the fuck? I don't know. Honestly, who the fuck knows what it was?
So we're introduced to Freeze, and he is a babbling Teutonic idiot that can only speak in puns for the first quarter of the movie. I will say his character runs out of puns so quickly.
Just talking about cold things.
Layers of ice. And
He just transitioned into talking about cold. He's like, everyone, it's cold. And I was like,
He's just stating facts at a certain point.
the temperature is below.
32.
First of all, none of the physics in this movie make any goddamn sense. When they're like on their way there, they crash into this fucking quote unquote museum, and they're just Robin's motorcycle flies for like 50 feet. And here's a quick thing: motorcycles don't fucking do that, folks, unless there's a ramp. And there was no ramp. Okay? So chill the fuck out.
I love how they're around these priceless diamonds, and Freeze is going after this big diamond. We don't know why.
Oh, we'll find out real quick.
We'll
Don't
find
you
out.
worry.
Yeah,
And it'll
well,
make
Tell
so
us
much
within, like,
fucking
the next
sense.
scene.
But they start playing ice hockey.
Okay.
His minions are pretty cool. You got to admit, they're
I'm going to
they're
cut
pretty
you off
fucking cool.
right there because the next note that I have is going to be how the fuck does Batman and Robin just click their heels together and fucking ice skates pop out? Do they always run into this situation? We ever put fucking ice skates in the bottom of our goddamn boots because if I get caught one more time in an ice rink and not be able to skate, go
Or a frozen
fuck
river.
yourself.
Hey, they could run into a frozen river if it skate across or something.
I
It's
wrote this
possible.
down to your point because this whole scene, so they're chasing around Freeze. They're trying to get the diamond back from him, trying to get through all the ice and the freezing and all that bullshit. It's very chaotic and none of it makes sense. They're playing ice hockey with the diamond, but after they just seem to have a gadget for everything. It's like they planned for this exact scenario in their head.
There's no fucking way
Yeah,
on this shit storm of an earth that is exactly how they prepared for it because they had no clue.
they end up in some sort of rocket ship.
No, Freeze is his vehicle that
That's
he
his
crashes
okay.
through.
One of his many
He-
vehicles.
He ejects himself out of the museum.
Toys.
Instead of just
Toys.
walking out the front. Instead of just walking out the front, no one's going to do anything. Or, I don't know, taking his fucking vehicle and going back out the same way he came in. He gets ejected into the air in some fucking rocket ship.
I need to go over something really quickly
Okay.
that burned me up so much that I said I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep on watching this. To your point, Chase, everything with him has to be like a freeze quote. Something's freezing. Oh, the dew point's 32 degrees today, so we're going to get a light frosting.
It's a light dew today. How does it feel, Batman?
What's
it
the
feels
feeling?
nice and moist.
They have wind
Moist.
chill. One of his quotes, there are two constants in life. And he doesn't say it at first. He just goes, everything freezes. And it doesn't. Indeed, everything in life does not freeze. In fact, it's quite the opposite. But he does go on to say,
I totally forgot he said that.
I remember exactly when that is, don't
Because I
you?
remember he was like trying to make it out to be this like poetic or like this
Profound,
like
super
crazy.
Everything freezes. It doesn't, though. It doesn't. And then when he is trying to stymie Robin and Batman's pursuit of him, he goes, "What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. The Ice Age." It, in fact, didn't. They're off by quite a bit. It was let's go ahead and look, end of the fucking Cretaceous period, 65 million years ago. The Ice Age happened 2.58 to 11,000 years ago during the Pleistocene epoch, and they were 62.48 million years off. Go fuck yourself up a tree.
That's what you call
Dipshits.
bad writing.
And
That's awful writing. It's not cute. It's not funny. Shut the fuck up. I was pissed. Pissed.
Kyle's also our resident biologist.
Resident non-studying and non-degree holding biologist. Thank you. Okay. Go back to the rocket ship. Go back to the rocket ship.
They shoot some
Which
fucking...
is where they should have stayed. They shouldn't have tried to like interject facts.
Should have just let the rocket ship go up and they all died at the same fucking time.
So instead
5
of
stars.
just taking his vehicle back the way he came in, that thing had spikes on the front. Nothing was going to...
What was that? What was the point of that?
I don't know, but nothing was going to take it down, is my point.
You might as well
So
just stayed in there. It's like
let's-
Hitler's fucking train from World War II. You're not going to get in
it's
it.
a fortress no one's going to penetrate. It just... But no, you have to shoot yourself up into an escape pod into the sky.
Andrew, it made a cool toy. Okay?
You're right.
Yeah, and we're gonna keep.
I'm pretty sure Mr. Freeze's vehicle was a toy. I'm pretty sure that was something you could buy.
Yeah,
back
it was, and it came with a little freeze.
Yeah, it did, Mr. Fleas.
Batman and Robin somehow shoot themselves up. I can't even remember how they did it.
Robin had some magnetic little Robin-looking fucking hand things that climb up the side. Really cool.
He held on to like the side. I think Batman got pulled in there with him,
Which,
and then
again,
he checked.
if we're just going to... I didn't write this down, but if we're really going to go there, you would have your hands ripped off of the fucking wrists because the amount of speed and force it would take to leave the fucking atmosphere, which is what they were trying to do.
But hey, man, this is from a comic book.
Oh, shut off. Oh, fuck myself.
It's
I'm
from
so
a comic
sorry.
book, all right?
Oh, you better just get fucking wrecked. This is like...
I think, and I do have a mention before they even go up. Didn't Robin get frozen too?
Okay, you jumped just a tiny bit ahead. So Batman follows them in. Okay, I'm not going to go play by play, but I have to play by play this because it's a big one. It's a big one. It's a big thing. Okay, he gets inside this little rocket ship looking penis icicle thing, and he's inside with Freeze, and Freeze sees him and he kicks him down into the little undercarriage, and he takes his freeze gun out and doesn't freeze him. He just freezes his hands to the side of the fucking rocket ship.
No, Kyle, you're not understanding because he was going to freeze in 30, 40 minutes.
Oh, that's right, because... And thank you for saying that.
It was like a
Chase.
James Bond
Your
villain.
lungs and heart will freeze in space.
He goes, your heart will freeze at 30,000 feet. No, it won't. I'm so sorry. It won't.
You don't
Because
wanna breathe, but
I will say they had something going. I promise you they did not intend this. But if you're at 30,000 feet, around the minimum temperature is going to be negative 62. With wind chill and everything, it's probably around minus 121 degrees Fahrenheit, which is not enough for your heart to freeze inside of your fucking body. You cold-hearted dipshit. Pun
He is
intended.
cold-hearted.
Now go back to Robin.
So
Sorry.
there was one point in all this chaos. I don't remember if this was before this. Robin got frozen and gave the diamond up because he's being an idiot.
Absolutely.
So Freeze freezes him. You got 11 minutes to solve him. Batman goes over and just picks him up like he's a goddamn duffel bag.
Yes.
This is a full-grown adult male in a rubber suit that's frozen.
That you could probably break in half if you're not
Yeah,
careful.
how much did that weigh? With the ice and everything?
Oh, at least double.
Picking
It was
up a
thick
cooler
ice.
to take to the beach, I'm using 2 hands and struggling with.
He's Batman. He's real strong. Batman's real strong.
I mean, he's very strong.
So he thaws Robin. That's how we end up in the situation
But
we're
wouldn't
in.
you die? I wrote that down. I said, so Robin's dead now?
No, did you not hear Freeze? He had 11 minutes.
Oh,
11 minutes.
yes,
11 minutes.
The cutoff is 11 minutes.
Why they settle on 11?
Because it sounded good.
Maybe that's the mammalian dive reflex for hibernation. Go fuck off.
It would have been more believable if they had said 5 or something, or I don't know.
It would have been unbelievable if he just died
That-
after getting frozen like
And
that.
can we just talk about how his freezing gun and the ice just looked awful? The special effects
It looked
were
like a giant
so
ice
bad.
dildo.
But like the ice didn't even look real half the time.
It just looked like a laser.
Yeah, it was
just like
CG.
fucking.
It was so bad.
It was this because CG was not at that point in this
wasn't that
time.
point,
They were
but-
trying to use it left and right, and the technology was not there at the time to force the CGI all over the place. So it looked terrible. And then the explosion of the ship looked awful.
Bad.
Here we go. We got surfboards now. We have surfboards.
And were they out of the atmosphere at that point?
Don't worry about that, Andrew. Don't worry about the atmosphere, okay?
no, I'm going to.
They were easily in a position where they could burn up or
Just say they
die.
would have fucking combusted.
And how do
into
you
flames.
surf? Like they weren't even acting like parachutes. They were just surfing it.
How did their feet stay on? How did they must have had special magnets because they do that a lot.
Remember, he had a gadget for everything. He was sitting up that night with Alfred while Alfred was crying in the corner. Here's what's going to happen. Robin's going to try to jump in front of Freeze. He's going to get frozen. I'm going to pick him up, throw him in this pond, heat it up, and then I'm going to chase Freeze up into his own spaceship. He's too stupid to freeze me altogether. Maybe he uses enough of the freeze gun on Robin. He's just going to freeze my hands. So I'll have Robin put the lasers in his back pocket. So he'll break me out. Alfred, did you make sure you packed the surfboards for when the thing explodes?
I forgot, Master Wayne. Please don't beat me again with a rubber hose.
There's a few more things I want to touch upon, but there's so many things that defy logic in this, and it's just
Might as well not even talk about it.
Exactly. It's straight trash.
I think y'all can figure out where this is headed by
I
the
mean, you
end.
gave it away in the first 5 minutes, so
So this is, I think, the first movie ever to use CGI stuntmen.
Cool, bro.
They didn't do green screen. They didn't do anything. They CGI'd Batman and Robin in that scene.
Cool, bro.
History was made in that
Totally
scene.
necessary. This is great.
Freeze gets away with his diamonds.
Which I guess we found out that he's using the diamonds to power his freeze suit. Diamonds that are so easily crushed, mind you. That they definitely don't put diamonds in the tip of fucking drills.
These are the world's purest diamonds too.
They're just so fragile. And they actually, when they combust and burst, they make, in fact, not heat, but cold.
Cold.
Fuck me. This is dumb as hell.
He had that big ass one that he was like, I just need 15 more of these. I don't think 15 more of those exist. He obviously didn't say 15. I'm exaggerating here, but we're in the poison ivy area now.
okay, good. This is a great intro, just brilliant.
This is my research that I've been doing, and I am an Earth first person. I love plants.
Earth, and
And this crossbreeding between plants and animals isn't going how I thought it would. You don't fucking say.
And this whole scene, to sum it up, Ivy's in this fucking weird ass. Where the fuck are they doing these
a
experiments?
lab in South
America, somewhere in
and
Brazil.
and the lab was so unorganized. It looked like it had been overgrown with just weeds and all kinds of
It
shit.
was like some haunted house meets a fucking greenhouse. Who knows?
there was no research going on in there.
nothing. And she stumbles into a mad lunatic doctor.
That she's been working next to for how long? She has no idea what he's up to.
He has these military leaders, and
From
he
across the globe.
and he throws this what looked like an 8-year-old onto a table, and
He was a mass murderer.
He was a mass murderer.
mass murdering. How is he still alive?
Yeah, he looked so emaciated.
So he puts him on the table, puts the mask on him, injects him with his, quote, venom.
Which was written in big bold letters on 6 or 7 different gallon
And there might
jugs,
have
so
been
we
like
didn't forget.
Might have
what
been
the
like a
venom-
skull and crossbones, just
Yeah.
playing into all the stereotypes of what you see. And then Bane was created.
Yep, and that's what we got for you.
And then what's her name?
that's it.
Poison Ivy came into the room.
And then she's privy to what's happening, so he goes, yes, either sleep with me or die. And she obviously goes, well, when I'm done with you, you won't be able to teach at a fucking university. And she's like, bet, bitch, I'm going to fucking throw you over
Meanwhile,
this table.
okay, so she comes back into her little lab, which is just conveniently down the hall, not even, like through some double doors, and she's all beside herself, like, oh, this is outrageous. How could we destroy the sanctity of life like this? Meanwhile, Bane's in there just like fucking destroying shit.
he's just
I'm not sure what's happening to the military leaders. I don't know what's happening to the other men in there.
Clearly it was fine because, like, he kills her, and by kill her, I mean he pushes her over a table, and the table has stuff that melts the ground.
Venom. It was written in big bold letters.
But
Fucking
my
kill
point
me.
is, he leaves that room to come in and talk to her while Bane is in there, like, mucking shit up. We don't even know what the fuck's happening in there. And then,
Prior to the threesome with the military.
I hope he did.
Regardless, she comes up
But it's
as
so
poison.
casual. There's no urgency.
No urgency. Comes and then resurrects as Poison Ivy, kisses the guy with poison lips.
But when as soon as she arises from this underground web of plants and shit, she's a completely different person. Fuck everyone. I'm going to seek revenge on all men. I'm an evil entity, sociopathic individual, even though I wasn't that before. Here I am, surprise. I'm gonna go get Bane. It's just inflated, that's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, he loves her.
Yeah, there's no wooing or anything that she has to do. I'm just gonna take Bane. He's
Come on,
mine.
Bane, honey.
And he's like, all right, let's go.
And then he starts dressing like a noir detective.
But important piece of evidence we left out. Before she goes and grabs Bane, she grabs a beaker off the shelf, and it says Wayne Enterprises. And she's like, now I know who to seek revenge on.
The 3 people that are listening to this, I'm going to tell you right now, I made it to about this part, and I had better things to do with my day. I had to do other things. I had to go clean up dog shit outside, and that's what I did. But I did have to say, is she fucking British now? She just got up there and all of a sudden,
dialect completely.
and the dialect is horse shit. There was nobody working with dialects on them on this. Not that they needed to, because you don't need to have a dialect.
While we're on it, I think we can all speak to this. This is where I was losing my mind with the dialogue. Because everyone's dialogue was Poison Ivy was talking about plants all the time. Freeze, who we already established, was talking about cold. Batman was this smarmy, sarcastic asshole.
He was a fucking prick.
He wasn't nice. He wasn't altruistic. There was nothing redeeming about
Yeah,
him.
anytime someone said something, he would make a smart-ass 5-second comment.
He
and
was
move
also
on.
so monotone in some of his deliveries, too.
Oh, everyone was monotone. I said earlier, it looked like everyone was delivering their dialogue on the toilet. It was bad.
It makes me regret going to acting school, knowing that I could have just phoned it in for all this shit.
Robin's character, all he was doing was just like, what about me? You
don't trust me."
trust me.
Well, that's because you're a little dipshit.
You're a 32-year-old man.
You
Get
don't.
over
There's
it.
nothing you know about life. So shut up.
And there was not a single likable character.
Commissioner Gordon
Hoping
was
he-
so fucking derpy.
You deserve to die.
He would just
Whatever
pop up and he'd be
happens.
like, Batman, what are we doing now, Batman?
He's the stereotype of a cop that just fucking sleeps in his car and eats donuts and coffee. That's not Commissioner Gordon. Come
turns
on.
his radio off and then eventually turns his body cam footage off.
Turns it on the right time. When he's got it in handcuffs. You don't see anything before that. It sounds bad.
That's
that
him.
That guy was just getting to the case of a box of Malamars. So Poison Ivy confronts Bruce Wayne. They have a back and forth, and it's just cringe. Where Bruce Wayne's people would come before plants. I don't care about dumping nuclear waste everywhere. And so now you're automatically like, I don't like Batman in this movie. He is in this movie a sarcastic asshole billionaire.
He's the problem.
Yeah.
And then there's a point in this movie where he has a girlfriend, and the girlfriend's like, we've been dating a year, Bruce. How come you're not going to pop the question? I'm going to leave you.
No, I'm not the type to marry.
I was like, lady, it's only been a year. This man is the richest man in the world.
Doesn't she get up and leave right away? In that
No,
little-
he becomes an asshole and calls her Ivy.
Ivy.
Because if you don't know at this point, Poison Ivy has this ability to like blow this pheromone
that
into people's nose.
entices men specifically.
She did it to Robin and Batman, and now they're like thinking about her constantly. But they're not really going crazy over her. They're just thinking about her briefly. Robin's like, you're just mad because she wants me more than you. That's the extent of it. Then we get a segment where basically to try to catch Freeze again, Bruce Wayne, for some reason, in a charitable event, gives away a huge diamond. And I don't know where he got that diamond from. I thought he stole it.
Was it a diamond? Can diamonds be red? Because it was red.
I think that'd be a ruby, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
that's what I
but
thought.
but at this point, like, it's got to be a diamond because that's what Freeze needs. like it,
But it did not look like one.
it did not. But it's this expensive diamond. Batman and Robin, they're in full suits, and they're waiting to try to capture Freeze. All of a sudden, Poison Ivy shows up, does her pheromone shit over everybody. And I remember thinking to myself, are they bidding on the women? They,
bidding on the women for a date or something.
yeah, it was super disgusting. And they do that all the time at billionaire
it's
charity
essentially
events.
just-
They start bidding, and then Poison Ivy shows up, and these men go crazy because of the pheromones, so they start bidding.
And they
And
go
then
up to like $1 million with her.
Batman and Robin start bidding against each other. What money does Robin have?
Yeah, no, orphan. Orphan.
No, what's his line?
He says,
I'll
I'll borrow
borrow
it
from
from
you."
you. I'll borrow from you. It's $6 million. And then Batman goes, $9 million. And then pulls out the Batman credit card and says, never leave home without it. Let's think about this from a logical standpoint. You need a social security number to apply for a credit card. Therefore, I don't think Batman
doesn't
has
have
his own social
social.
security.
No
He was
way.
born that way.
He had to give away his identity just to have his own credit card. Does Batman get taxed?
I don't understand what the
Doesn't
problem
make
is.
any sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. You guys are just overthinking it.
Thank
Bullshit.
God Freeze showed up to try to kill everybody.
Probably did kill a few people.
No. They had an 11-minute window.
But
Okay.
we didn't see them get thawed.
We
or
did
thawed,
not
so-
this group. But there were a bunch of rich billionaires, so no one cared.
Yeah.
She tries to use the pheromone on Freeze. Freeze is immune to it because he's cold-hearted.
He's like, this heart is too cold or something. I don't remember what
Yeah,
he
he's
said.
like, cold, 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 cold. And she's like, plants, 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 plants. And that was, and then I blacked out.
Again, I only watched about the first 40 minutes of this 2-hour movie, and I saw all I needed to see, and that makes sense.
None of this is well pieced together. We could jump from scene to scene to scene here, and it wouldn't leave
Let's-
you feeling any better.
And let's even do that. Because the middle of this movie has nothing going for it other than Alicia Silverstone showing up.
Which still didn't make any sense.
She shows up and she's barely in the movie. You find out she's this radical girl,
Got
but she
kicked out of her fucking boarding school or whatever.
And
she
she's-
likes to ride bikes and steal the bikes of Bruce Wayne's collection in the garage and go out in the middle of the night in Gotham and race against these street punks and
plays exactly the same character she did in Clueless.
same exact.
Same exact character, which I never thought Alicia Silverstone could play another character. She's just insufferable. But Robin likes her, but also has the pheromone around him with Ivy. He's trying to freeze the entire city and
Gotham.
de-thaw
His
his
wife.
wife who has McGregor syndrome.
Fake. Looked it up. Absolutely fake. Not even a real thing.
Not real. It's a comic book thing.
Fake.
but
Fake.
So she has McGregor syndrome, and then you find out Alfred has McGregor
Gregor syndrome as
syndrome.
well.
Fake. Not real.
Hers is more progressed than his, correct?
Yeah,
He
she's
was early on saying, yeah,
dead.
he's-
She's dead.
she
She's
died.
like frozen, and you just want to look at him and say, "Give it up, bro."
How'd you like his makeup? How'd you like Mr. Freeze's makeup and what they did with his costume?
He looked like a spray painted thumb.
Yeah.
He was bad.
Poison Ivy's like eye makeup and facial makeup, and it looked like something I did in my college acting class, stage makeup class. It was so fucking just Bush League awful.
Then they start freezing the city. I know we're going in a mile a minute, but I just can't take much more of going scene by scene.
They were in Mr. Freeze's little hideout or whatever. The cops had infiltrated or whatever, but there's a cool switch and a heat switch. And they turned on the heat switch and everything was fine. But then his minions come back, they take over, and they turn off that heat switch to the cold switch. And within seconds, all the cops and whoever is in there just start falling down as if they're frozen and can't move. When it's been like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And they're paralyzed. They can't move. They can't do anything. And then towards the end, when they kick Freeze out, Freeze leaves. They turn the heat switch back on, and within seconds, people are back up at their feet, jumping and running to get the hell out of there. Like, just illogical bullshit. That's the theme with this movie. It's the same fucking idiocy over and over and over and over again.
And even just the basics of filmmaking. I cannot fucking stand this when movies do this. And this movie egregiously does this. There's scenes in here where there's one of Freeze and his wife when he falls into the vat. And they're showing Batman the footage of him falling into the vat and talking to his wife to try to, like, give some exposition. It's supposed to be security footage, but it looks like they just shot the footage regularly.
Yes.
They also do that when they reveal that Poison Ivy was turning on Freeze. He's like, I had to pull the plug. And it was the same scene we saw earlier. If you're going to do security cam footage or footage you're showing another character in the movie that's not a movie scene, don't shoot it like the movie.
That's such a common trope that they just hammer over the head on this one that it's like, again, why even bother? Don't watch this movie. There's just nothing in this movie that needs to be watched.
Unless you have a 4-year-old.
4-year-old deserves better, Andrew.
Honestly, yes. But it would entertain them.
Paw Patrol, just turn it on, let them watch that. And they do it in photo form, because there's a photo where they're like, look at what we see getting off the plane. And they show this stupid photo of Poison Ivy and Bane. And it's not from a security footage. It's just someone who took the photo from me to you, which is like I'm sitting arm's length from Kyle right now. I can reach out and touch his like voluptuous hair. They're that close, and the guy took the photo. He would be dead. Bane would have killed that man.
Done. So that's not a real fucking
also,
photo.
Like a potato chip.
Bane is, like I said, he's dressed like a noir detective.
He has the luchador mask, and he has his trench coat.
He had a fedora on at one point, too.
I don't know if I need to feed this man a steak and coffee or a quesadilla. I don't know what he needs.
I don't know if he got fitted for that fedora, but it had to be pretty wide to fit that balloon head of his.
Yeah. And, oh, my God.
I also wanted to get to the parts with, what's her name? Alicia Silverstone's big reveal. Can we talk about this for a second?
Her Batgirl reveal?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We just gave it away.
Sorry out there.
You ruined it.
Alicia Silverstone's Batgirl.
So how it's revealed to her is her ailing uncle, that's Alfred. It's her not long lost uncle.
About to be long dead uncle.
Yeah. He
Who's
creates-
84. I know he's got McGregor syndrome or whatever they called
It's
it.
fake, Chase. That's not real.
I know he's got it. And they're playing it off. They're all sad he's going to die. Just let him go. Just let him go. He was crying in corners. He's not mentally well. No. He's 84 years old. I'm sorry. If I'm 84 years old and I'm struggling to get through a bat cave, kill me.
Don't
kill
worry,
me.
Chase, none of us are going to live that long, buddy.
Speak for yourself.
He drinks his, what do you call those, athletic greens?
Yeah.
And my own piss.
AG1, baby.
Might as
AG1.
well.
Sponsor us.
But
Sponsor
anyways,
us.
her uncle, Alfred, creates this message. It's on a compact disc, on a CD.
That was
item.
a DVD ROM.
DVD-ROM, yeah. And she puts it into the computer somehow, some way.
She basically just opens the door to the bat cave because the door was unlocked.
Yeah, but in this message, there's a bunch of pictures of bat sign and like the Robin sign and pictures of their costumes and shit like that. And then she opens the bat door cave. She walks in. She's like, oh, wow. Ooh, neat. It's just like a pre-recorded video of Alfred that still communicates with her.
Yeah, because he says, I uploaded my brain into this computer.
That's real believable.
Real. That's totally real.
Then she becomes Batgirl and just kicks Uma Thurman in the face.
Yeah,
and that's how Poison Ivy goes down. Batgirl just kicks her, she falls, and her plants just turn on her for some reason.
She was sitting in them like 15 minutes, not even like a few minutes earlier, just like resting and enjoying herself.
And
they smelled her weakness. They knew she wasn't the alpha ween anymore.
That's how Poison Ivy dies in this, which is fucking stupid. But then I remember she goes over and Batman's, nice get up. Who are you? In that same kind of monotone voice. And she was like, Bruce, it's me. And he was like, oh, we'll talk about this when we get home.
He actually says, I'll have to kill you later.
Okay, one, you didn't recognize someone that has your technology on. Her and Robin have just sunglasses on, basically.
That's it.
If you go home tonight and Gretchen puts sunglasses on, you're like, well, who's this stranger in my apartment?
I'm calling the cops. Get out.
Now Freeze is frozen the city. And God, what a horrible final fight scene, too. It just goes nowhere.
That's another thing. The fight choreography, it was awful as well.
Also, we got 11 minutes to thaw the city, and they're trying to triangulate satellites to thaw the city.
There are like
and
eight satellites up in the sky, and Batgirl's like, move over. I studied this in boarding school. I can do this.
Yes, naturally.
Yeah.
GPS global positioning satellites at the
But it's going to take a genius to figure that out, and they go to that upside down screen that's broken.
She's not even looking at the screen. She's just looking at Robin going, "Bip, bip, 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 bip," and then the satellites start moving and thawing the city, which no fucking way they're going to thaw all
That
those
quickly.
people. That city's going to be under ice for at least 6 weeks.
If the Empire State Building was frozen solid, a beam of sunlight isn't going to de-thaw that in a matter.
There's probably people back like going, oh my God, it's a comic book movie. Leave it alone.
Did you like all of the sound effects of like the ice crackling and melting?
Yeah, it's
too?
to give it enough, hey, we're thawing the entire city right now.
Revealed that it wasn't Batman that killed his wife. Because Batman pulled up that handy dandy
Cell phone. It was just a cell phone.
that showed the video of Ivy pulling the plug on his wife. And then Bat was like, "Oh, but we saved her. It's fine. She's okay. We were there."
He showed the footage I was talking about where
Yes,
it's
the same
same
shit.
shot that they did earlier. They just edited it onto a smaller screen.
Where'd they get it
And I was
from?
like, where the fuck did Batman? He was knocked unconscious.
They're really
Bruce
good
Wayne
at
have
video
cameras
editing.
everywhere. Does he have cameras everywhere?
Then Freeze opens his little wrist thing and goes, "Take 2 of these and call me in the morning." Basically had the medicine to cure McGregor syndrome, which doesn't his wife have?
Yes. That's died from. I
So did he
guess.
solve it after?
She didn't die. She was about to die, and they
Oh, they
froze
just
her.
preserved her. Excuse me.
But he
sorry.
had the cure.
Right.
He had the cure on his wrist the entire time.
He had two vials.
Yeah,
of it.
2 vials. And so he gave them to Alfred, and then they cure Alfred of this fake disease. Everyone at the end of it's like, yeah, we're going to make a sequel. Here comes a sequel. Thank God a sequel didn't happen. And that's how we wrap it up.
It's the best way you can wrap it up.
Underneath all that snow, I know there's a heart. And I had to roll my eyes just so incredibly hard at that.
I would like to say in conclusion that there have been better porno scripts written in this movie. So
Yes.
I've seen toddlers write better scripts.
absolutely.
One last point I'll make before we find out if it holds up or not. I know we talk about set pieces. I know we talk about CGI.
Cartoon.
Did you guys, Kyle, for the 45 minutes that you watched, did you feel like that there was absolutely no life in this city at all?
Nobody lives there. Nobody's ever lived
So
there.
to me, they really, I don't know if they did this on purpose. I'm assuming they didn't by the rest of the script. But the only people you interact with is Bruce Wayne and the billionaires, or you interact with the villains and just the shittiest human beings alive. Everyone looks dirty and like they live on the streets. And there's like homeless people everywhere. I'm not talking about a normal amount of like just dirty people on the streets. I'm talking about like everyone. It was like if we were in this movie right now, you would have a small little schnauzer you feeding like little sausages from a can. Kyle would be over there peeing next to a 7-Eleven, and I would be under 4 boxes doing heroin.
They did show some civilians at the end when they were thawed out. There was a bunch of just people in like business trench coats and like fedoras. That's essentially
Those were the billionaires. They were just in the process of walking
those
to
are the
their
dudes
next
that are going to the
billion.
coffee shops and grabbing their newspaper and using the phone booths, but like they didn't look real.
There was no life. Nobody made any sense. The only characters in this were the main characters we had. They boxed themselves in with their dialogue. Robin was immature. Alicia Silverstone was trying to play this innocent girl.
The set was like a fucking fun house.
It would look like a carnival ride that no one was in line to go to.
No one wanted to be there.
I'm going to say this right now to kind of segue us into this. I'm sorry that I watched it. I usually don't say that. I'm upset that I gave this time of my day.
Does it hold up?
No,
Nope.
we know it
No,
doesn't.
negative.
No!
Why don't we each go around and do our classic 1 out of 10 scale?
I'll definitely go first. Negative 14 out of 10. This was horrible, and there was nothing redeemable about it. None of the dialogue made me laugh. I was nostalgic for it for all of 30 seconds, and then this is exactly what this podcast was created for. We all had nostalgia about this movie, and then we watch it as adults, and we're like, holy shit, that was horrible. Now my childhood is a lie. Okay. So negative 14.
I get the emphasis on wanting to strike home how awful it is. Between 1 and 10. You got to give between 1 and 10. Negative 14 is out of that range. So give me a number between
This
1 and 10.
movie was out of the range of being good.
I would agree with Chase.
I would say if I gave it a 0, that means it wasn't good. But if I give it anywhere between 1 and 5 is average, right?
No, 5's not good. Think like IMDb.
But I would say
ratings.
5. I would say 5 is meh. You know,
5's not good.
And 1
5 is not
and 2 is
good.
this movie sucks. I'm talking. This is historically bad. What do you give something that's historically bad?
A historic number that's
Yeah.
unprecedented.
I'll give your number, and I'll give mine.
I don't give a shit enough to give
He
a
didn't
number.
even finish it.
I'm not. That should be.
That's a definite negative. number.
I'm going to agree with Chase because there's IMDb ratings, there's Rotten Tomatoes, and then there's our ratings. And our rating system can be whatever the fuck we want it to be. And I'm going to tell you right now, in terms of don't watch it, it's a 10 out of 10. That's what I would give it. Don't watch it, 10 out of 10.
I said 2.1 out of 10, which is painstakingly low. So
I think that's painstakingly
I think
high.
you're taking it too seriously, even giving it that
I'm trying
score.
to give it like a true IMDb rating.
Okay,
So
you gave it a higher score than Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes has it at 12%, which I think would come out to a 1.2 in IMDb.
let's look up IMDb.
It's 3.8.
Okay, so I'm lower than that.
So bad. This needs to stay in your childhood.
Yeah.
I regret watching it. I don't think this is something anybody ever needs to watch. There are much better things you could do with your time. You could go cut your grass. You could go advocate for a more healthy justice system in the United States. You could clean up water off the ground. Service your car and then look at the wall while they do it. Go get a prostate exam. There's so many
your
other
laundry.
things. Do your fucking laundry.
Take a shower.
Go file your fingernails down.
File someone else's fingernails down.
It's Malort, except worse.
Oh my god! I would drink a
watch
whole
this
bottle of
again.
Malort before I
don't know
watch
about
this
a whole
movie.
bottle?
I would drink a whole bottle right now.
At least you get something out of it. At least you get drunk.
Yeah, exactly.
I would do a number of shots. I don't know about a whole bottle.
I would agree with Andrew. I'm going to agree with Andrew. I don't think I would ever do a full bottle, but I would do enough to get drunk. And again, that's going to give you more than what we got out of this.
I'm talking about if you gave me the choice, a whole bottle of Malort or this movie, I'm drinking the Malort.
You might get alcohol poisoning.
I don't know. That would be more fun than watching this movie again.
Fair point.
There you have it. We just reached into your childhood nostalgia, pulled Batman and Robin from your past, and doesn't hold up, never held up. It was probably really bad when you were a child. You just don't remember it. Batman and Robin, one of the worst films we've ever seen. Never watch it.
Don't ever watch it, please. I beg you.